love watching him play football. I love watching him blitz. I love how aggressive he tackles. That was a complete dominant performance from all three levels of the defense.
Can we get to the Seahawks?
Yeah, DJ, it's not every day you get a shutout. How rare and how impressive is it to shut a team out without inclement weather in the NFL?
Yeah, it's hard to do, man. And it wasn't like there was a lot of close opportunities and a ton of stops at the 1 yard line. I mean, you had the interception, the pick six down there, but there was not a lot of plays called on the other side of the field in this game. It was completely dominant. It was fun to watch. You had a collection of quick wins where the defensive line just won so fast, whether it was, Leonard or whether it was Murphy late, all the way across the board. Plays didn't even develop. Plays didn't even get started in this game. And then when the ball popped up in the air, it was up for grabs, and you're seeing playmakers at all three levels. And, it was an Ernest Jones game, not just the interceptions, but he was smacking people. He was, playing downhill. It was, going back through my notes on here, there was a lot of numbers: 0, 7, 99, 91, 42, 8, 27. I mean, obviously 13, 21. I've always had an affinity for him. I love watching him play football. I love watching him blitz. I love how aggressive he tackles. Like that was a complete dominant performance from all three levels of the defense.
You know what's interesting about Spoon? He didn't put up numbers. No. So I think there's a lot of it. It's a little bit like right now Byron Murphy is leading the Pro Bowl voting over Leonard Williams. I think he's leading the NFC. Murphy is over Leonard. It's like, I think people that watch the tape see 99, and people like you, DJ, that watch the tape don't have to see tackles or interceptions or whatever with Spoon. What is it? What is it that just jumps off the page to you?
He plays so fast, and there's no – a lot of times, and a lot of people teach it, and I think it's a safe way to tackle, right? You talk about in scouting, like guys that come to balance. So you're going to close the distance as fast as you can, then you're going to come to balance. Think of like a closeout in basketball, guys at the 3-point line. You want to sprint out there, but then you got to come to balance and get settled so that you can be able to adjust to any movement. He just runs right through you. He does not. He trusts his angles, and he plays so fast. And there's just no. I just love watching guys who have such confidence in what they see and in their ability that they never tap the brake. It's always going. It's fun to watch.
Is that why you enjoyed Max Brosmer so much?
Yeah, my undrafted free agent grade held true for that one.
DJ,
that was a tough watch.
That might be, and we've seen some bad quarterback play over the years. Max Hall will forever be one of the worst I've ever seen. Poor guy had to take a crow hop to throw an out route. Brooks Bollinger back in the day skipping passes at people. I mean, there have been some rough quarterbacks in the NFL. I think what I saw on Sunday might have been the worst I've ever seen.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I said I would go on TV on game day morning, and they asked for my scouting report, and I said he's not a traitsy guy. And they were like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, well, he's not super big, he's not super strong, he's not super athletic. But I said he did in college. He made, he saw the field and made good decisions, just real kind of efficient. And then you get in this situation and the lack of tools and traits, and yikes.
Processing or decision making or
and then
accuracy.
He didn't have much time. He didn't have a whole lot of time to do any of that.
You have no run game.
Either.
You have no pocket. You have the air sucked out of you. You can't think. I can't even imagine. I had a game like that at Nebraska, my last year of school, DJ, where I could just I kept telling myself, just slow down. Slow down. Like the game could not slow down. It was like they were all in fast forward, and it was a blur. I can't imagine what his eyes felt and saw Sunday. Because this defense, let's just go there. I mean, this defense right now, which defensive personnel of all the tape that you watch, all these games that you see, is there a defensive personnel like grouping that you would trade the Seahawks for as a roster?
No, I'll tell you what. There's some really good ones, and I will just give you a few just off the top of my head. I've seen Denver, and they are very, very fast at all levels. And I would give them, there's Surtain is kind of a one of one, so that's kind of a chess piece that Seattle doesn't have. But as a collective whole, I would probably still lean Seattle. You've got the Rams. You've seen them, you know, how physical they are. But I would still take Seattle. I said that after that game.
They're back in
no,
that
that's what I'm
secondary.
saying. No, but their front is real. So then you get to me, Green Bay with their front seven and the athleticism and the speed, and then having Micah Parsons thrown in there in the mix, and their safeties are good. That would be another one that would be in the conversation. But would I take any of those teams over Seattle? I would say no.
I can't get over DeMarcus Lawrence. We've talked about him a couple of times, and my season started talking a lot about Leonard Williams, and I'm not trying to ignore him. He's obviously been great. There's something about DeMarcus Lawrence that maybe it's that it was unexpected, right? You sign a veteran free agent like that, and I don't know, my expectation was low. Like, yeah, all right, we'll see if he has anything left, and maybe he's here to kind of stop the run and get to the passer occasionally, but he seems to be a complete difference maker in every single phase of the game. And then you listen to the coach and his teammates talk about him, and he sounds like an otherworldly leader and practice player and everything else. Should I have realized that he still had this much left? Did you?
I mean, he's been a good player for a long time, and he's one of those guys where he's always been more rugged than flash. He's a physical player. He's a power rusher. But I mean, yeah, he's just fit in so well into this group. He's never played bad football, but I never thought that he never really got the mention in with those top tier guys. And I think he's just one of these guys who he might be a B+, A- player, but he is his worst play is a B+ play. Like he has no ever any drop off in effort. He's always pushing the pocket. He's always setting the edge. And in that game, I mean, he has the pressure that leads to the pick. He has a sack. Like he's just making impactful plays. And I've always heard that, even coming out, that this guy was an incredible worker, an incredible leader. And that can be, something that's infectious when you've got a guy who's been around as long as he has and is still going that hard. I saw that during my time with the Ravens when we had our old veteran guys. There weren't days where those guys took off. It was always 100 miles an hour.
That probably speaks to this next question I have for you. And we chatted with Coach McDonald about culture. We started our show about brotherhood and love and togetherness and all the tidbits and all the words you use for culture. Aside from your bigs running and littles tackling, which you dropped on us earlier this year and has never left the conversation, is there something else that you look at on tape where you just are like, oof, that's culture. Oof, that's culture. Oof, that's culture. Anything else that just jumps off videotape in that regard?
Well, two things I would say, when you're watching the tape, I like to see, and this is just standard stuff, but just like how many hats are you getting to the ball? So that's everybody. That's just not the bigs, the littles. That's just everybody efforting to get to the ball. And, I'll give you like a Chargers example from that in the last game that they just played against the bad Raiders team. There's a ball thrown to the sideline, which is going to be caught. It's going to be, it's either caught or dropped. He's going to be on the lines out of bounds. Tony Jefferson's in the middle of the field safety, and he just sprints over there. The ball gets popped up in the air, tipped up in the air twice. He picks it off right on the sideline. And that's like an example of guys that are always there. Nothing bad happens when you sprint to the football. And when you watch Seattle's defense play, at the end of every play, you see a whole lot of their jerseys in the frame. There's a lot of guys getting to the ball. So that would be number one. And the number two thing, this might sound kind of hokey, but I like seeing the butt slaps and the back slaps and the encouragement going from teammate to teammate after plays. Like they get more excited when a teammate makes a play, maybe even than when they make a play themselves. I've always thought that says a lot about the buy-in and the collective we over me.
Yeah.
Hey, so another week with Sam. He's good. Like, he's really good. And I hate having to ask these questions because it makes it sound like I don't like him or I want him out of here or anything like that. None of that is true. I said it earlier. The accuracy, the mechanics of running the offense and all that stuff, his play action game, his fit with what they're trying. There's so many really great things that he's done. And God, I just love him so much more than Geno last year. The leadership, it's just better. But I'm still not like convinced, and maybe these they got 4 games down the stretch against Indy, LA, Carolina, San Francisco, and then probably playoffs after that. What can he do over those 4 games plus that make him a legitimate playoff winning quarterback? Other than the obvious win games.
Yeah, I would say the two things that were in this game that I think you can clean up a little bit. Number one is just way too many tip balls where, he's got to figure out a way to get around that. Some of that's on the back. Like there's times where the back's just got to, you can't really, maybe you can't cut quite like you used to be able to, but you got to get into their chest, at least try and get the hands down. But Sam's got to do a little bit better job of finding lanes and not getting so many balls tipped. And then there's also, especially in the red zone, it's happened a couple times this year where he's just got to have his clock, just to have a little bit better clock and a little bit better feel. You get to 2 hitches, man, like it's time. You gotta go, you gotta take off and run, or you gotta throw the ball away. And he's getting hit from behind. Taking a sack is one thing, but then you got to worry about protecting the football at that point in time. So just a little bit more awareness in terms of that internal clock in some of these areas of the field, or certain down and distances, or certain looks that you get. And then to me, it's just way too many tip balls. There were a couple drops in this game too, which would have helped this line. And then really the score got to where it was. I mean, then they just played safe. They just pushing the ball out to the perimeter and didn't really even have to throw it all that much.
Yeah, but I worry those fumbles. Is there anything you can do to teach not fumble? Because that's been a problem for him since college.
Yeah, I mean, there's always keeping 2 hands on the ball, which I think he's done a pretty good job of. To me, it's more just the clock. It's more knowing, okay, I'm not going to be able to see this backside pressure, but can I feel it? One, if I can't feel it, I just have to know. And Brock, it's hard. Brock maybe can explain it better than I can, but just where we are in the field, everything's going to happen faster when you're in the red zone. Everything's condensed. You have to, you don't want to be sped up as a quarterback, but in these situations, you have to know, okay, I'm at the top of my drop, hitch, it's got to go. Like I can't assume that I'm going to be able to sit back in here in a cocoon. Like it's not going to happen. You've got to have a little bit better feel and timing there.
What do we see from the right guard? What do we see from Mr.
Man,
right
I'll tell you what, like I was shocked because we talked about that over a month ago. And
you have
I've
your
got
big binder of truth. You have your big binder of draft.
Yeah.
Can you go back?
Oh,
I think
the
that was
draft stuff?
3 years ago. I said last hour as we chatted through this a little bit, we asked Mike, and it's going to be a competition. You read between the lines, and when Sundell comes back, maybe he plays a little more Haynes this game with an elbow to Bradford. But clearly, that door's open. And I said to Mike, the challenge is, I bet you in DJ's binder, when it comes up with Anthony Bradford, the word inconsistency is going to, or just a good play here. You were talking about there's no F plays with DeMarcus Lawrence, or all B+ plays. It's just been inconsistent with AB.
Yeah. So here we go. 6.040. So 6.4 332. He ran 5.08, which is a good time. So I said right guard will test well, played heavy. He can anchor. He can position a wall off. He is not good in space. He's played some left tackle. He will struggle versus speed. And when you watch them, it is like the worst thing you can do as an interior offensive lineman is lose fast. Like you can lose slow. You cannot lose right off the jump. And when you look at it, there's backside, whiffing backside tackle for loss as a puller in space, whiff tackle for loss. When guys are lined up on him, like when he can get guys in his path, like we talk about a one-track player as an offensive lineman, like if you can keep that train on the same tracks, you don't want to be in his way because he's a big, strong guy. He can knock you down. But anytime he has to deviate off that initial track, he's in trouble. And there's just too many quick losses, and the quick losses are just a killer inside, man.
So what do you do? I mean, the other options.
I mean, watching the tape, I'm assuming he wasn't hurt. I didn't.
He was. He did get hurt at the end. He hurt
Did
his
he get hurt?
elbow.
Okay, so I saw.
But
him
we
get
all
pulled.
assumed
I
he
didn't
had
know
been
if that was
benched
performance based. Yeah.
Christian Haynes is the other possibility who's been unable to beat him out.
Yeah.
And then at some point, Jalen Sundell, who's been playing center, will come back, and you could leave Oluwatimi at center and put Sundell at right guard. Is it time to do one of those things?
I mean, I think it's something that I would want to experiment with when Sundell comes back, because he's in the lineup and he's played really, really well. It's just, man, do you want to keep him at center? Then it's just trying to find the best combination. Maybe that's something they can, work through. Maybe you take a game and experiment with something, but I would like to see it, coming down the stretch, at least for a look to see what it looks like with a different combination in there. And again, I don't ever want to have somebody talk about me like Jim Moore talks about Brock.
No.
I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm trying to be mean. I'm trying to be mean. Yeah, exactly. I don't need that smoke.
Yeah, a lot of people.
But I'm just saying, this team, we said it at the trade deadline. Like, what could they do? And I'm like, okay, well, that's the one spot that would make some sense, just off of the performance.
A lot of texters. Matt in Oregon wondering, please ask DJ where Salk falls on his list of nicest people. See, that's unnecessary. You don't need to ask that. We're not going to ask that question. That's not
know how in baseball you have to have enough at bats to qualify. You have to show up for enough shows to qualify for the nicest guy. You know what I mean?
That's unnecessary. Speaking of baseball, at some point we don't have time now. Next week, I got to ask you about my theory on offensive line. I don't think I've ever asked you about this before because I really believe they should start doing platoons on the offensive line. I don't understand why we have to play the same 5 offensive linemen every play of every game. Why not get the best players into the best position to have them succeed? So we don't have time today.
I know, but I talked to a GM about that 2 days ago.
Are you serious?
I swear.
Hang on to that. I want to talk to you about it next week. It is my thing.
No way Salk will remember to ask you, but yes.
No. Please remind me to ask DJ about platoons.
Brock, remind whoever's filling in for Salk to mention that.
I'll be here next week. The week after that, not so much. But next week, I will be here. DJ, thank you as always. We'll talk to you then.
See you guys.
All right, there you go. Daniel Jeremiah, we'll be right back.